progress is fueled by the undying belief that the future is bright. Do you believe that? Simon Sinek sure does, because he said it. But if you're not already a massively successful author, speaker, entrepreneur like Simon, how do you get to that level of certainty that the future will be bright? My answer? You do everything in your power to create it. Welcome to the Next Simple Step podcast. I'm Paul Goldsmith, and really want to talk about how we overcome the uncertainty, unpredictability, and downright unpleasant nature of Murphy's Law when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Of course, Murphy's Law goes something like everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And it's not an actual law. I don't believe in it, but it's often quoted every time something goes wrong because I believe the person that says it had a deep down feeling that that was a possibility to begin with. And then that feeling was confirmed when it did in fact go wrong. There are actually so many things that could go wrong. How do you eliminate those dangers, those threats? And how do you get prepared? Just because something can go wrong doesn't mean it will. And how do we make sure it doesn't? Let's make this really practical. I have 3 steps you can take right now to minimize any potential threats to your business, your entrepreneurial journey. And the first step is really just to do a risk analysis. What are the potential threats to your business, your dream? If you've ever been a parent or you've ever been around first-time parents, they really go overboard on the safety precautions, covering up every outlet and locking every cabinet and padding all the corners and just anything that possibly could endanger their baby. And with your business, it also needs that same sort of protection. What are the things that could really endanger the life of your business? And you can use a traditional SWOT analysis where you identify the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and then double down on the strengths and opportunities. Most importantly, for this conversation is you really want to know how you can shore up the weaknesses, how you can address those head on before they become liabilities, and also those threats before they become actualized. Another way that this can be accomplished is something that I've used with many clients, and it's super helpful. It was developed by Tom Patterson. He calls it 4 helpful list, and it's simply make a list answering these 4 questions. What's right about this project? What's wrong? What's missing? And what's confused? And the right and wrong aren't moral judgments, but maybe you have the wrong fit team members in the wrong places, or maybe you have the wrong marketing strategy for what you're trying to accomplish. Whatever it is, all progress starts by telling the truth. So identify what's wrong about your current plan and identify what is missing or confused. This is helpful, particularly when you have a team, getting everybody on the same page, because there may be some people confused that you have clarity on, or others may have clarity on a particular direction of your business that you're totally confused, or you just have different understandings. So this is a really helpful strategy, whether you're a solopreneur or entrepreneur with multiple team members, to really get all on the same page and do this exercise where you talk about what's right, what's wrong, what's missing, and what's confused with your current strategy in any particular area. So you could do this with regard to your marketing, to your sales, to your lead generation, whatever area of your business that you want to ensure the greatest possibility of success. Make sure that you're all on the same page, or if it's just you, that you're clear about your key objectives and what success looks like and how you're minimizing threats that could possibly occur. So after you've identified the risk and you've really gotten clarity around that, the second step is to develop contingency plans. So you've identified what those risks are. You can then create action steps for each identified risk. So what might be a potential risk of running out of money? Well, then, how are you going to generate more money? Or make sure that you have a reserve fund so that, you never drop below a certain level on your account. Whatever the case may be, identifying the risk, and then whatever that mitigation strategy is, you've got a contingency plan. If something does go wrong, here's the plan B, here's plan C, D. Don't just stop with one backup plan, but There are multiple potential points of failure in any business. And so you really have got to make sure you're thinking through every single possible scenario with regards to the cash flow and continuation of that business. When you run out of cash, you don't pass go. You have to go back to start and you don't get a payday. So that's the game when you're an entrepreneur, is making sure that you're creating value and you have paying customers and that you can keep playing the game. There's no win or lose. It's just a matter of you either keep playing or you have to start a new game. And those with contingency plans get to keep playing longer when the unexpected happens, when there's a natural disaster, when there's a pandemic, when there is an economic downturn. They have options. So whatever the case may be, what are your contingency plans if your current method of delivery of your product or service was interrupted? If you're just relying upon Facebook for leads, what happens if you get locked out of Facebook? That happened to me. My account had two-factor authentication and it locked me out. You want to make sure you've diversified enough and you have contingency plans if your primary means of acquiring or servicing customers gets interrupted for whatever reason out of your control. You might not be responsible for the interruption, but you are responsible for how you overcome that interruption so that the business can go on. And then the third and final step to avoid Murphy's Law, to minimize any threat to your business, is to regularly review those contingency plans and update on a monthly basis at least. Because maybe a risk that didn't exist 3 months ago has occurred. A competitor right across the street. There are new risks all the time. So at least once a month, you're reviewing what I like to call a win. It's what's important now. Based on what we know about this business, how are we going to make sure that we are moving forward in the best possible direction? And we have those contingency plans that are up to date with the current reality. As a consultant, I see this firsthand. Something doesn't work and I ask, well, why do we do this? Well, that's because the way we've always done it. And maybe that was a great idea when you started, but the world changes and the average person gets more information today than a person just a few hundred years ago would have gotten in a lifetime. So it's really a matter of making sure that your current contingency plans address the current reality. That really helps you be prepared for anything. Be flexible and adapt as you go. I've noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs really hit a ceiling, the ceiling of complexity, and that's about as far as they go. And so I'm trying to learn to continually adapt and determine what it's going to take to get to the next level, to not just keep trying to work from the same plans, because what got you here won't get you there. Every level you get, you have to learn new information and adapt as you go. You've probably heard it said, trust the process. And I believe this is what's intended by that phrase. There are too many variables in the future. Do the best with what you have right now and upgrade and adapt as you go. There's this fabulous quote from Viktor Frankl that goes, don't aim at success. The more you aim at it and make it a target, the more you're going to miss it. For success, like happiness, cannot be pursued, it must ensue. The most successful entrepreneurs are not just fixated on the end result. They obsess over the details to get there and eliminating potential threats and obstacles along the way. If you're feeling stuck or you'd like some help developing your strategic plan of coming up with your what's important now, your win, then I would be happy to help. Reach out. You can book a complimentary coaching call at nextsimplestep.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.